Aisha, the people that I spoke with tonight say that they aren't surprised about the arrest of Bridgeport's former police chief, but go on to say that they hope with this latest arrest that it can build bridges between the community and law enforcement so that everyone can move forward.
Chief, do you have anything to say?
Chief of Police Armando Perez leaving court after being arrested for allegations of rigging his police chief examination back in 2018 and making false statements to federal agents. The news not shocking to many.
What it looks like is that the chickens have come home to roost. You can't cheat and stay in a position.
It's almost comforting, right? Because it's just confirmation that everything that we've been shouting, everything we've been fighting for, has been brought to light.
I don't think anyone really that lives in Bridgeport is surprised by this. I think people have been waiting.
The city's acting personnel director, David Dunn, also accused in the same scheme. A federal complaint alleging that in February of 2018, Dunn oversaw the police chief examination process to determine the top 3 scoring candidates. Investigators say Dunn stole confidential examination questions and emailed them to Perez. The FBI says Dunn had an outside consultant tailor the process to favor Perez. They allege Perez enlisted 2 Bridgeport officers to secretly draft and write his exam.
Do you, Rebecca Garcia, have been chosen to the position of acting police chief?
Hours after Perez was arrested, he resigned and Assistant Chief Rebecca Garcia was sworn in as interim police chief. Bridgeport Mayor Joe Ganim stressing that the police department is here to protect and serve.
Certainly there is a grappling for some of the answers as to what has happened, disappointment, uncertainty, but I can tell you this, that the members of this administration remain committed to you as residents of this city.
Y'all public service, y'all work for us. We are here to be peaceful and to meet in the middle.
Outside of Bridgeport Police headquarters, protesters already urging that the next chief needs to be chosen with public input.
It's not as simple as just placing the next person in order to take his place. We are not going to accept that, and we know that every single person that has been around him and his corner is involved in the same corruption.
Lawmakers say this investigation further strengthens their passage of the police accountability bill passed over a month ago.
The culture of policing themselves has to be upset. I think it's these types of incidents that show just why it's so important to have citizen and civilian oversight of police departments throughout the state of Connecticut.
Both Perez and Dunn are facing multiple charges, including wire fraud, and if convicted, they both could face up to a maximum sentence of a 20-year sentence in prison. And that's per count, as goes with the paperwork that goes with this whole investigation. Also, we did reach out to Perez's attorney and have not heard back at this time. We're live in Bridgeport tonight. Brian Ditlake, Fox 61 News.
Brian, thank you. Breaking tonight on the eve